first one, you don't have any time, but we're going to call up Rachel Lee, who's a 9th grader for the Bergen County Academies. Where are you, Rachel? Come on up. And Rachel, who you have here tonight? Your mom? Where's mommy? Mommy? So young? You are so young. So young too. Okay, Rachel, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Rachel Lee and I am a sophomore at the Bergen County Academies. Before I start my presentation today, I would first like to start off by thanking everyone here and our special guests, Montclair University Police Department Chief Paul Sell, New Jersey Department of Treasurer Office of Criminal Investigation Charles Giblin, New Jersey Department of Homeland Security John Page, and of course Chief Kugler, and the Supreme Court Judge Bruce Balter. To start off my presentation, I would first like to start off with an anecdote of my life. This was just a few weeks ago, and it was just a normal day of school, but due to after-school activities, I was left at school for longer than expected, and my mother was arranging me an Uber for me to ride home, just like every other high school student might. However, I get a phone call 3 minutes later that the driver had just rejected me. And I felt baffled and a little annoyed at some point, but it wasn't until that evening when I realized that it's against the Uber's policies for minors to ride without a supervision. And so, to explain about juvenile crimes, it's currently a serious problem in society today. Although thankfully its rates are decreasing, many students are committing crimes, and on the other hand, many students are subject to crime. Some juvenile crimes include shoplifting, underage drinking, and drugs or vapes. And many penalties follow under the juvenile justice system, which is a special system of justice for juvenile delinquents that commit crimes. This crime system is focused more on rehabilitation and prevention of crimes, contrasted to the consequence-based justice system of adults. Some consequences include detention, probation, out-of-home placement, and fines in severe cases. Now, you might wonder why these students commit these crimes. And the most major reason is environment. We are only teenagers and we are immature and prone to mistakes. We do not have control over major issues that go on in our lives, such as family issues, financing issues, and like we had talked about in last month's meeting, communication. If we do not have proper communication with their proper guiding figures, we are not able to realize what is right and what is wrong. We cannot realize that we are committing crimes, and it is hard to fix them without proper communication. These things can be prevented through proper awareness and precautions. First and foremost, we should all follow the law. Law justifies everyone equally and fairly, and different justice systems exist so that kids and adults can all better themselves. Rules exist for everyone's benefit, and everyone should take part in the community and fulfill their role. And to go back to my starting anecdote, that evening I was frustrated at the driver, but of course I was able to get home anyways. And that evening I asked my friends, "Did you guys know about the policy?" And of course, nobody did. It's a natural happening that happens, and it's easy for laws to be overlooked, especially laws like these where it reduces crime rates as a whole and improves safety for students. These laws are very important, and however, they're overlooked by many people in society. And I still don't know who the driver was, but he allowed me to realize the true importance of law enforcement, and I'm very thankful to that one person that really helped me to realize what law enforcement actually means and how it can impact everyone's lives. Thank you.
Okay, anybody have any comments from the audience? Chief Sell.
Rachel, I just want to say, I thought that I have a big mouth, you can hear me. I thought it was a really great presentation. I like how you tied in a real life situation to looking at the criminal justice laws. Do you think when you're looking at crimes, and I know you looked at a bunch of different crimes, that there's some crimes where the kids, where the youth should still be tried as adults? And some that should, what would you see as a kind of a line, a breaking line?
So, we're children.
You don't have such a big mouth. We gotta get it.
So since we're all children, we don't really know what is the borderline between right and wrong. But I do think that there is a strict borderline in between, such as suicides, no, not suicides, but homicides and murder, because those deal with life and death, and I don't think that that's something that can just be overlooked just for the fact that we are teenagers and not adults.
You are wise beyond your age. Great job.
And your mom did a great job too. So young. Great job. Thank you very much. Okay, Ashley Na, all dressed in black. Come on up. Ashley Na is a 9th grader from Leonia High School, and you have both parents here today, or just mom? I know your mom's here. Where's mom? Right there. She's smiling more than you. I think she wants to come up here, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, let's give our attention to Ashley. Ashley.
Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Ashley Na. I'm a freshman at Leonia High School, and I'm going to be giving my speech about juvenile crime. But before I start, I just want to thank everybody who came up, especially the special guests, the past president of the IACP Montclair University Police Department Chief Paul Sell, the New Jersey Department of Treasurer Office of Criminal Investigation Chief Charles Giblin, the New Jersey Department of Homeland Security and Preparedness Special Agent Lieutenant John Page, and the Saddlebrook Police Department Chief Robert Kugler. So, juvenile crime is a major issue that is being faced in our society today. Juvenile crime is known as the crimes that are committed by those who are aged between 10 and 18. As part of the young generation, it's important for us to understand the reasons, consequences, and how to prevent juvenile crime. Once a minor commits a crime and enters the system of law enforcement, they are considered as an adjudicated delinquent. Some examples of juvenile crime include vandalism, trespassing, shoplifting, assault, joyriding, underage drinking, and selling drugs. Laws, whether they apply to adults or juveniles, exist to prevent conflict between groups of people. Laws identify what is considered as a crime, and without them, society would fall into complete chaos. The juvenile criminal system is different from the adult criminal system in many ways. The juvenile criminal system works in a way that emphasizes treatment, therapy, and education of the child instead of punishment like in the adult system. It aims to rehabilitate the child before entering adulthood. Some additional differences are that the juvenile court does not involve the use of juries. They face disposition rather than sentencing. The hearings are not open to public, and the family must contribute to the case. Regardless of the severity of crime, a minor faces regardless of the severity of the crime, both systems expect the criminal to have full mental capacity and understanding of their offenses and the punishments they must face afterwards. In our states, when a juvenile crime commits a minor crime for their first time, they are sent to Station House Adjustment. It is a program that is directed to first-time juvenile offenders, and it is where they can face the consequences of their actions. Station House Adjustment assigns community service and allows the offender to undergo restitution. Undergoing this process in the early stages of juvenile crime prevents the continuation of poor behavior. Station House Adjustment is only offered once, so after their second offense, charges will be placed and the offense will be written on the formal record. Additional offenses are dealt with by the Juvenile Conference Committee, which is a panel of members that professionally determines the consequences to a delinquency case. Juvenile delinquency should not be taken lightly for its lenience, since appearing in the justice system gives court extensive power over one's life. Court has the power to put offenders in probation, foster homes, school for delinquents, and detention centers. It is best for one to avoid these punishments in the long run. One of the main reasons why committing crime as a juvenile is bad is that getting a job will be really difficult. This is because companies do not have trust in an employer whose life involved crime in the past. Juvenile crimes can come from a series of issues in a child's life. These causes include problems at school, financial issues, substance abuse, physical abuse, lack of proper interaction, media violence, and peer pressure. Since it is in the nature of kids to grow and be deeply affected by their surroundings, living in such conditions will cause them to commit crimes. No child should ever have to go through these things, but unfortunately, it's happening in the lives of thousands. However, there are many ways to directly prevent the causes of juvenile crimes instead of correcting one's actions after the crime is committed. The best way to prevent crime is for the community to take action. The implementation of the community's involvement has shown a gradual decrease in crime since 1996, and these interventions include education, recreation, visitation of homes, forming parental interaction programs, bullying prevention programs, and family therapy. All of these methods promote positive behavior and full recovery, which display great results in the end. Our judicial system should steer clear from using methods that involve forcing fear and discipline within the youth, because it doesn't lead them to better their actions, but it will rather cause distress and continuation of crime. Overall, understanding juvenile crime and its causes, consequences, and effect on adjudicated delinquents can only do good for the future. My hope for our society is that we can all be active in the help of others to not only reduce juvenile crime, but other issues that are being faced in the country. Hopefully, as a result, the young generation will travel the path of awareness and put an end to their lives of crimes. Thank you.
Great job, Ashley. Great job. Comments from the audience? Charlie?
Excellent, well thought out. I believe that you had a very, very wide and broad understanding of what the issue was, and you were able to put it all together in a very concise package. Very nicely done. Very nicely done.
Anybody else? Ash, I can tell you, you're very accurate, because a lot of times juveniles under the age of 18 getting a little mischief or incidents in our community. Our police department handles it in just what you said, station house adjustment, because we realize that sometimes at a young age, whether it be 15, 16, 17, or whatever it is, you make mistakes. And sometimes we understand we're only human and we make mistakes, but we learn from our mistakes. So a station house adjustment program allows the young man or woman to come into the police department to understand what he or she did wrong and to learn from it and make sure that that incident never repeats itself. So sometimes, these things that we do are important to young men and women. So Ashley, thank you very much for a great presentation. Mom, you should be very, very proud of your little daughter here. You did a great job. Thank you, Ashley. Okay, Eunice Lee is from my table, and I already know what she's going to talk about. It's very similar to what the first two presenters talked about, juvenile crime, and at this time, Eunice Lee from Englewood Academy's 9th grader, and your mom is here? Where she be? Oh, hi, how are you? Okay.
Hello, my name is Eunice, and firstly I would like to thank everybody who came, especially the special guests. So I attend Academy of Englewood, which is actually split up into two different schools. This includes Dwight Morrow High School and Academy of Englewood. And Dwight Morrow High School is actually known to be very dangerous, and I've heard from a lot of people before attending Academy of Englewood. So I'm actually around a lot of people who do drugs and have fought in a lot of fights at school. And just yesterday I witnessed a fight and it got pretty bad. And just last year, I think, there was a big fight that led to a couple of people in juvenile jail. So I'm actually around a lot of juvenile crimes. So juvenile crime is one of the most serious problems, and these crimes have risen from starting from the mid-1980s and peaked in the early 1990s. But it is still a concerning problem to this day. And a juvenile crime is a crime usually committed by people below the age of 18. The underage individuals are treated differently from adults and have their own court of law as well. And minors that commit crimes are labeled juvenile delinquents or juvenile offenders. And additionally, laws concerning juvenile crimes differ from state to state. And some common examples of these crimes are alcoholism, drug use, shoplifting, bullying, curfew violations, and running away from homes. And there are many reasons behind juvenile crimes, and there's always a way to spread awareness on problems like these. So, one of the many causes of their action is having a broken family. Families with bad relations or a difficult background can affect a child's behavior and thought process. This could lead on to teenagers wanting attention from their peers and relying on bad influences as a way to cope. In addition to minors having disturbed families, lack of finances and moral training from parents could be a major factor in the reasons behind these crimes. And oftentimes they start to use drugs and sell drugs, and they could also begin to shoplift and steal in order to help their family's difficult situation. The absence of social and moral training is a problem that goes on the shoulders of the parents. It is the parents' duty to teach the children ethical and moral values to prevent them from committing juvenile crimes. Knowing the difference between right and wrong should be taught in order to avoid children disrespecting the state laws. And neglecting teenagers could often lead to them wanting attention from someone other than their parents. Stress, peer pressure, and mental illnesses all play a big factor on how delinquents make the decision to commit these crimes. There is an ambivalent orientation toward juvenile offenders. Government has always struggled with the concern of the balance between punishing criminals and allowing room for development. Children who commit crimes should be educated and supported in their process of growing and learning. On the other hand, these adolescents still have committed a crime whether they are underage or not. Laws and regulations are set up for the safety of the people and to protect citizens' rights. Laws have an impact on everyday life for every single person on Earth. For example, how would we drive on roads without traffic laws? Quite literally, the roads would be too dangerous and people would be running over pedestrians every second of the day. Our government has the power to tell us what is legal and right, and we as a whole are required to obey laws in order to avoid legal consequences and respect authority. If people all around the world refuse to follow the laws and regulations that government set up, the world would be in utter chaos. And humanity would eventually cease to exist and everything would be pointless if we did not have set boundaries. In order to prevent and lessen the damage of juvenile delinquency is education, interactive programs, prevention programs, and more community involvement. By educating both parents and children, it allows for a healthy relationship between the two, which would lessen the possibility of child neglect. Parents or guardians could be taught on proper ways of raising children and how to inform these young teenagers about juvenile crimes such as drug use and alcoholism. All different types of programs can be put into action to show children their consequences to their actions. This will enable teenagers to think before acting and encourage hope and open new insights for the children. Having been in prison or committing a crime could have both positive and negative lasting effects on a person's life. And on one hand, prison could be torturing and miserable for the delinquent, being confined into a certain area and following strict regulations every day. And wallowing in shame is definitely not easy. However, it is time to reflect on the things that took place before, and they learn to miss having family and having choices. Offenders could decide to stop their violence, and some criminals come out of jail and become successful in both educational and social life. Although some do not learn from mistakes and often end up in prison again. And in the end, committing a crime affects the life and the behavior of the person regardless of punishment or background. Juvenile crimes affect society as a whole, and it is up to the people to spread awareness and find a way to help these teenagers that are in desperate need of attention and support. Thank you.
Okay, any comments from our parents? Mom, you got a comment? Great job, right? Great job, great job. Anybody else? Uh-oh, the Chief Justice.
What happened, one of the people from the school do anything? Did the police respond?
The fight last year, there was a big deal about it, so they actually ended up in juvenile jail. But the fight that happened yesterday, I think they just got suspended.
Would you say that the response time of the school is adequate?
Excuse me?
Would you say that the response time of the school authorities for your own personal safety is adequate? Or can it be up if you need the assistance of the police quicker?
I actually do think there needs to be improvement because these fights happen actually a lot, and there's a lot of people in bathrooms who also do drugs, and there's a lot of juvenile crimes going around us, but it's never informed or there's not enough action taken in place to stop these or preventing from these happening.
Eunice, this is Dwight Morrow or this is the Academy?
They're split into two.
Right. Same building?
No, we have two buildings, but we're considered DMAE, which is Dwight Morrow and Academy of Inglewood.
Okay. Very common in police departments to have school resource officers, or nowadays what they call Special 3 law enforcement officers, who are basically assigned to the schools for security. Does your school have such SRO or school resource officer or Special 3 law enforcement presence?
We do have security guards everywhere, like almost everywhere.
Uniform presence or
Uh-huh.
ununiform? Uniform presence, okay. Okay. Anybody else? Well, I think you did a great job. Thank you very much for this. Okay, where's Daniel? Daniel, come on up. Daniel also is a 9th grader from Bergen Tech. And your mom, Joan, is here. Where's Mama?
Here.
Where are you, Mom? Okay, Mom. Okay, Daniel, juvenile crime as well, right? Okay.
My name is Daniel Huang, and I'm a freshman at Bergen Tech. To start, I would like to thank the special guests, immediate past president of IACP, Montclair University Police Department, Chief Paul Sell, New Jersey Department of Treasurer Office of Criminal Investigation, Chief Charles Giblin, New Jersey Department of Homeland Security and Preparedness, Special Agent Lieutenant John Page, Saddlebrook Police Department Chief Robert Kugler. You have heard of the word crime before, but have you ever heard of the term juvenile crime? A juvenile crime is a crime that is committed by minors or people under a specific age. Minors have the possibility to be charged with crimes such as assault and theft, which are offenses that adults can also be charged with. However, some offenses are known as status offenses, such as underage drinking, where it is based on age, because it would not be an offense if committed by an adult. If the crime that the minor committed is serious, such as murder, there is a possibility that they will be judged as an adult. However, the goal of the juvenile system is to rehabilitate minors who commit crimes and to prevent them from doing it again instead of punishing them. Since minors are still young and have a long life ahead of them, the juvenile system wants them to learn their lesson and to realize that what they are doing is wrong. When a minor commits a juvenile crime, a probation officer or a prosecutor charges the minor in a civil petition. The minor is under the court's control if the charges are proved in juvenile court. A quote from a site is, "The court's powers include returning the minor home, imposing formal or informal probation, placement with foster care, enrollment in a special school for juvenile offenders, or even commitment to the state's juvenile detention center, sometimes called juvenile hall or the juvenile jail." In some cases, minors that were 14 or older that committed felonies were judged as adults in court. The juvenile court process can sometimes be more merciful than the adult court, but it also has the possibility of being more harsh towards the minor. In addition, committing a juvenile crime will affect your life in many ways. Many think that the juvenile crimes get wiped from your record and don't matter. However, this is not the case, and they can have an even greater effect than adult crimes. Consequences of committing a juvenile crime are that it will impact your chances of being employed, buying a house, enlisting in the military, or returning to school. The public can see a juvenile crime. Depending on how serious the crime you committed is, you may be prevented from having a gun, or your driver's license might be suspended. You would have to pay fines and pay the court, as well as returning anything that you have stolen. You might be asked to submit DNA samples to the state DNA database. Your immigration status might also be affected. If you commit a juvenile crime, it will impact your life in many negative ways, and you might not be able to live a successful life because of it. We abide to the law and regulations to avoid getting in trouble and facing consequences. We also obey laws so that no one is harmed. For example, we stop at a red light and drive on the right side of the road so no citizens are harmed, and we do not get in trouble with the police. People respect the authority, which is another reason why they abide to the law. We may not realize it, but the government gives you healthcare, education, and makes sure you are safe. We are supplied with all these things for free, so in return, we are expected to obey the rules and laws that they have made. Moreover, most of the law's purposes are to keep us safe and out of harm. Lastly, people obey laws because of their morals. When people commit a crime or do something bad, they feel guilty because they feel that what they did is wrong. For example, if you see a phone on the street, you probably will not steal it because you would feel guilty, and it is considered wrong to take anything that is not in your possession. These are the reasons as to why people abide to the law and regulations. All in all, committing a juvenile crime is very serious. If you commit a juvenile crime, you will have to go to court and hear what their decision for you is. You have the possibility of getting sent to a school for juvenile offenders or going to a juvenile detention center. It will also impact your life in a negative way and will affect your future and career. But the main goal of the juvenile system, as said before, is to rehabilitate minors and to teach them not to do it again. Even though minors have committed crimes, they still have time to better themselves as a people, and a punishment can help them acknowledge their mistake, which is what the juvenile system wants.
Any comments? The remarkable job is you left them speechless, Daniel. They can't even talk. Great job, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Hello, as usual, you guys did a great job. It was very exceptional. And I want to thank special guest tonight, Chief Hosel, Chief Charles Giblin, and Lieutenant John Page, and of course Chief Robert Kruger, and Chief Regan. Investigator Regan. This is my first time, sorry. It's actually my first semester though. And also Chief Justice Bruce Volter. Thank you so much for being here. And actually I want to talk about a couple of things about your essays. Because overall you guys did a great job. I really enjoyed reading your articles, and I thought that you guys all received the evaluation form after you submit your essays, right? So those because I brought the sample over here. If you look at the evaluation form carefully, and there are a couple of items, subcategories showing that how we assess your essays. So when you write your essay, please focus on that. And I urge you to make some good structure of your essay and develop your idea with compelling evidence. Then you will. And also, I want to mention that some of you didn't receive any feedback or the comments on your essay. It means that you guys did really, really great jobs. It was perfect. But some of you might receive some kind of feedback or critiques on your essays. Don't be discouraged about it. We are doing kind of practice now. And I guess having kind of the feedback is really important. For example, last year I had a blood test and all the numbers are pretty good. So since then, I didn't care about my medical condition. I ate whatever I wanted. But now this year I had another blood test 2 months ago, and 1 week after the blood test, my doctor told me I have a high level of cholesterol. I'm at risk of getting a diabetes. So since I knew my problem, I start exercising, I reduce eating carbs, you know. I do something for me, for myself, after I get the kind of like a feedback from my doctor. So please take advantage of this great opportunity to develop your writing skills. And you guys all know how we assess your how we evaluate your essay. So from the second subject, we are going to ask you to rewrite if you don't meet your standards. I know it's tough, but it will give you lots of idea to improve your writing skills. And I also want to talk about the next month's meeting. Instead of having this kind of formal meeting, we are going to have like whole welcoming party kind of. What's the name? What's the term?
Homecoming.
A homecoming party. Actually, the actual date is not decided yet. So once we get the date, and we are going to send you detailed information to your email. So please check your email. And I think you guys did a great job and keep up with good works. Yeah, thank you so much.